Hey, my name is Randy. This is my game Among the Willows, and today I will be teaching you how to play. So, first things first is setting up the board. After you place the board in the middle of the table, both of the players will need to get the 6 wanted cards, as you see here, and make 2 decks. Each deck will contain 1 lasso, 1 knife card, and 1 gun card. After doing so, both players will put each deck in their respective places in the middle of the board, and these cards will be used for showdowns later on in the game. Next comes setting up the money that will also be used throughout the game. Both players will get a bowl, and they will place it in front of both of them and place 5 coins in their respective bowls, as you see here. And a third bowl is placed in between them, and the rest of the coins are placed inside of it. This is the bowl players will take from and place coins in whenever it doesn't go to their opponent. Once this is done, the players can choose to play as Butch or Kid, which are the pieces that you see here. They place their pieces at the start and put the die in the middle. The player who's wearing the most colorful clothing goes first. So, the goal of the game is to reach the finish square and escape the town before your opponent does, although they can also lose if they lose all of their money and go bankrupt. Both players will take turns rolling the die and moving their pieces forward or backward however many they roll. If a player lands on a green space, as seen here, here, and here, then they'll simply add one coin from the extra bowl into their respective bowl. If they roll on a red space, as seen here, here, or here, they must take one of their coins and put it in the bowl. If a player lands on a space with gray bars, it simply means that they're in jail and that they lose their next turn unless they place a coin into the bowl. If a player lands on a black space, then what happens is they swap places with their opponent. So if, for instance, Butch is on this square and Kid rolls the dice and lands on this black space, Kid would be sent to this space and Butch would be sent here. And if by chance both players end up on the same square, they must engage in a showdown. So whenever a showdown occurs, both players will take a deck from the middle of the table, put it to their side, and they are allowed to look at their hands. But, obviously, don't show your opponent your hand, because that'd be very bad. So the way that showdowns work is very similar to the way that rock, paper, scissors works. The triangle in this game is that gun beats knife, knife beats lasso, and lasso beats gun. And whenever both players are ready, they'll both play their cards at the same time into their respective squares. And if somehow they tie, what both players will do is they'll just take their cards back and then shuffle their hand. So now, whenever there's a winner that's finally decided, the winner gets the option to move their piece or their opponent's piece 1 space and gets 2 of the loser's coins. Before any of this is done, though, the opponent may request a best of 3, to which the winner may accept or reject. If the best of 3, the effects of the first loss is cancelled, and the players resume play. If the winner is victorious, however, a second time, they get to move their piece or the opponent's piece 2 spaces, and they also get 2 of the loser's coins again. Now, Usually this next option isn't used so much, given the fact that it's a really risky option, but the loser is able to request a best of 5, in which case if the loser wins the best of 5, then they get to move their piece or their opponent's piece 2 spaces, and they get 1 coin from their opponent. If the winner is victorious for a third time in a row, though, they get to move their piece or their opponent's piece 3 spaces, and they get 3 of their opponent's coins. So it's a really risky option. And showdowns are a very vital part of Among the Willows, and they can make or break a player's entire run. And so the way that a player wins, as mentioned earlier, if a player loses all of their money and goes bankrupt, they lose, and the player that still has money automatically wins. Or whenever a player reaches the finish square before the other player, they win. So in order to land on the finish square, players must land exactly on the square. Meaning, if the finish space is 5 spaces away, for instance, that player must roll a 5. If they roll a 6, it won't get them to the finish square, and either they'll lose their turn or they can choose to move their piece that many spaces backwards. With all that being said, you now know how to play Among the Willows. Thanks for watching, and I hope you have fun playing.